Hello, everybody, and sorry for the late start. I do apologize for that. We are in the middle of a massive heat wave, and I was distracted while trying to drink lots and lots of cool iced tea. If you could see me right now, my hair is pretty much plastered to my forehead because of sweat. It has been a firecracker of a past week. And on top of all that, we're dealing with fires not here in Southern California, but believe it or not, in mid-California, Midlands, California, Northern California, which apparently is what is causing Joel to be in a distressed situation because he is a nurse. So he has been working around the fact that there's a lot more people coming in with respiratory distress. And when people talk about coming in with respiratory distress in California, it's not just because they are inhaling more stuff that's damaging to the lungs because it's burning, but because the winds usually will kick up a heck of a lot more stuff, including things that cause valley fever, which I have had more than once. Let me tell you, that is absolutely the most hideous thing under the sun. Nothing short of oxygen therapy reduces how much it hurts, and I now have an asthma inhaler, which I have not had to have since I was a child, with me all the time so that I can, take a blast on my wheezer. Oh my goodness. It feels like the bottoms of my lungs are squeezed like crazy. Of course, it doesn't help that I had pneumonia 8 times before I was 5 years old. And people go, well, how'd that happen? Chain smoking asshole parents who the thought of cracking a window while you're asleep is somehow poisonous. And yeah, I had pneumonia so many times. The bottoms of my lungs are very scarred. And by very scarred, I mean they were taking x-rays of it like that was a great idea. 70s technology and the understanding of x-rays for you. Every 3 months, front, back, and sides to make sure that the scar tissue wasn't somehow getting worse, as if the radiation wasn't going to do that. I've been exposed to so much radiation. If radioactivity would give you superpowers, I should be flying or crawling on walls or something. Anyway, turning aside from the comedy. Hello, Sonia. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so I take it for granted you've actually seen all of the episodes now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we're going to go in a little bit of a reverse order, and this isn't strictly going to be a show about reviewing just the Ghost Adventures. This actually is kind of important. The reason why is because this leads into something. For the very first time ever, and I mean ever, the boys have actually jumped into the deep end of dangerous. Ghosts can be dangerous. Ghosts can be problematic. But it is impossible to train a ghost onto somebody. Basically turn them into, weaponize them and point them at somebody and send them coming at a target. It simply is not done. I was asked by several people to actually cover this, and I have resisted because I was hoping that this is something that would not come up on a regular basis, or at least at all. Now I've actually seen that it does, and where it could be simply deflected or dealt with and spoken about as if it was a ghost. It is not. Now, you have to understand we have done this in a minor way on a previous episode, and I don't remember which, but I do know that it was done, where we discussed the differences between what a ghost is, because a ghost used to be somebody that was alive, and what we're dealing with in many occasions when we say spirits. There are, okay, and I'm going to have to go into new terminology for me because I've never used this before. There are things called thought forms which can be created by working to craft well, think of it as if you were a child, an imaginary friend, and you invest a lot of energy in them and you imagine all the things that they would do, how they would move around. Now, imaginary friends are one of the most profound and powerful thought forms a child can create. Now, a thought form, if you think about it, is actually just an illusion created that the child can see quite easily and quite immediately. But if given enough energy from a gifted person, it can take on a life of its own. Yes, it can take on a life all of its own. It can become independent. This is where a lot of worry about certain dolls comes from. Now, you can do the same thing for a doll. Remember, these are children, however, so you don't make them dangerous. They aren't. If you've seen movies where the imaginary friend comes around and does negative things, no, that's usually not the imaginary friend that the child has created. It's usually a ghost pretending to be one, or one that decided that they like looking at the imaginary friend that was created by the child, and they slip it on like a suit. And then they start inhabiting it from the inside, sort of like climbing into the driver's seat. Now, these things can be created so that they have their own will and their own capability to do what they want once you know how it's done. But we're going to get back to that a little later. I just wanted to make sure that you guys stick around for the end, because we're going to cover the second episode, which is Ghost Adventures episode 10, which is the Viper Room first. Why? Smaller subject. Now, this is not to make fun of you River Phoenix fans. If you guys were hoping that you'd hear his voice and you got it, that's great. I don't know what River Phoenix sounded like. I was a fan of his all the way up until he died. He died of a drug overdose. My respect for the man is zero. If you're going to live your life drugged out to the max and you have no reason for doing it, you're an unimaginative punk. He flouted the law. He did what he knew was dangerous. He pushed it to the edge. He died. I don't really care. It was stupid. He knew it was dangerous. I'm not going to bemoan the fact that the guy killed himself. He did. He died in a place on a street in front of a bar. Ignominy should follow that. Did they catch him on camera? Did they get his voice? Possibly. Could I see anything in that place? No. The reason being is that the boys chose to do the entire event in there either on infrared, so nothing would show up, or using a dark filter so that it would darken the edges of the screen. On top of having it being a dark room with black on black walls, there's nothing to see. It basically makes it so I might as well be staring wide-eyed into the dark. As I've said on more than one occasion, you can't see ghosts in the dark. You can see them in dim light much more easily, but never the dark. If it's completely dark, there's nothing to see. They don't just glow, not unless you pop to the astral side, and then they give off some amount of light. So the entire place, the Viper Room, was, I don't know. Well, first of all, the fact that there's a ghost in there that was able to communicate with them through a cell phone to the lady that was down in the lower levels, but they never tried communicating with her again through the cell phone, I found was vexing. Anytime you turn on the SB7 spirit box, all I can hear is static. I can't make anything out of that. It to me sounds like you might as well just have your head up against a old ghetto box, one of those things that people would listen to and listen to the music really loud, but have it on an untuned channel. I'm not hearing anything, right? There's nothing for me to hear. But if you got her actually talking to you on an iPhone, okay, that speaks to me Rod Serling right there. You actually should be trying to communicate with them, but they didn't. They found that there were cold spots and there was large energy drains, and I began to get a pulse-pounding headache every time they were near this one spot at the bar, which indicates that I was getting something, specifically because Aaron was around. Let's see. River Phoenix dying of his drug overdose. The stuff that he said was, "I'm River Phoenix and I'm confused." That to me sounds like a ghost 12-step program. Hello, everybody. I'm River Phoenix. I died in here of a drug overdose because I was an asshole. I'm confused. Does anybody know the way out of here? And then at the end, they actually said, isn't it great we could do something for River Phoenix? They didn't do anything for anybody. Nothing. They started talking out loud and then got teary-eyed because they missed River Phoenix because he was such an amazing actor. I don't know how to feel for him. Hi, Aisha. What was that you asked? Did something actually jump inside him? Something actually went right through them. It was a cold thing. I don't know if it was a recording or what, but they did show that in the recordings of the past, people always fainting in that one spot. So that means that it was messing with people, almost like, get out of my spot. That's my spot at the bar. That's my guess. But because it's black on black, it's infrared. I actually got more out of the closed circuit TV pictures. I had to run it back 5 or 6 times to see this. And I also had to turn the brightness up on my TV to like 1000% just so that I could see a little of the background count in the bar. Black on black is terrible for being able to see anything. So I'm just going to leave. I'm going to open up the floor now to you two. And if you have anything to say about it, let me know, because I am curious what your thoughts on it were.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I had typed in that question, because I was looking at him when he said that once he called the guy over there, something that he said had disappeared, and in there, it jumped inside of him. But what they showed us on the screen is like a red blotch had came up behind him and then disappeared near him. So I was wondering, was that real what we were looking at?
Are you talking about
jumping?
Sorry, are you talking about the witches in Magna or Viper Room? Because I'm talking about the Viper Room.
I'm talking about number 10. I think that's witches.
No, number 10 is Viper Room. Number 9 is Witches in Magna. So we're doing the second one first, because there's literally nothing to talk about really with that one. We're getting that one the hell out of the way. Because there's really, I mean, there's nothing to it. Oh, River Phoenix died here. Ooh, ah. I actually, I used to live really right close to where Robert F. Kennedy and JFK used to take all of their mistresses, called the Cockatoo Inn. All right. And apparently that place is super haunted. Every time I went by it, I never felt JFK or RFK. Okay. So it's one of those things. Ooh, they died there. SFW. It's not really germane. The dude, you got to feel bad for him because he drugged himself to death, but it's ridiculous. There was actually, they shouldn't have been pursuing River Phoenix. There was a lady who was actually talking to somebody on her cell phone by texting her in the basement. Now that would have been something to pursue, but they didn't. And then they tell poor Aaron, put on this hazardous material suit. We want you to go down there and push past all of these tubes and stuff. Crawl on your belly, you 6'3" bastard, and go find the spot where the floor is dirt and talk to stuff, right? And they weren't responding, right? Because he's jammed into this tiny little thing with his knees on glass. And they said, oh, he must have scared it away because he was complaining too much. No, because no ghost is going to want to talk to his ass. That's all you could see. They actually had it on camera. They said, Aaron's butt right here. And they pointed with a big arrow as if they haven't really aggravated poor Aaron enough. It was stupid. What is a ghost going to do? We're going to talk to your ass because that's the only part of you can see. Ghosts have the same dang limitations humans have. They don't go, ooh, let's crawl on our belly and see if we can't get past him so we can talk to his face in this narrow crawl space. That's one of the things I can honestly tell you I've never seen. Sorry, go ahead.
My daughter asked me a question like 3 weeks ago. She's been bothering me, every day, asking me, had I asked you this question yet? And she finally realized that you're on here now. She can hear you. So she came in here and asked me, did I ask you the question? Her question is, when you leave your body, like when you left your body to come and check our house out, she wants to know, what does your body do when you're not in it? Are you still breathing? Do you ever turn around and look at it to see if you're breathing? Do you keep somebody in the room to watch you to make sure you're okay? Can somebody shake you and wake you up while you're gone? What happens with that?
Okay.
Turn into a statue.
Well, here's specifically what I can tell you. There, you got to understand that I don't astrally project anymore. Joel and I mentally project because it's safer. We actually create a second body, and then we go to the spot, the place where we're trying to go to. If you astrally project, your body becomes near comatose. You can't be shaken awake. You can't be slapped awake. You do continue to breathe, but you might as well be in the deepest slumber you can imagine. However, when Joel and I learned how to mentally project, so we created a different body in the same way as a spirit has their own, their self-created. It's safer. We don't have to worry about injury happening to us, and we don't have to worry about bringing things back and watching over us. If you astrally project, you are vulnerable. You are physically vulnerable. You are spiritually vulnerable. Everything can hurt you. And it's usually a good idea, if you're going to do it, to have something either spiritual watching over you, like Jemima, or somebody physically watching over you that can also see spiritual, like Joel or myself. Now, mentally projecting and creating a fresh body in the spot where you're going to is safer, because no matter what happens to that body, it's sort of like killing a doll. Yeah, blow up the doll. I don't care. I come right back to where I am in my body instantly. And if there's trouble, if you shake me or smack me or whatever, I'll just immediately pop back here, and the mentally projected body dissipates like ether.
Okay.
So, if that answers the question.
Yep. She's happy now. She's smiling.
So I do not recommend astral projection, because you can get everywhere you need to without leaving your body by creating a mental construct and then moving out. Joel will tell you about it the same, because we realized it's really dangerous the first couple of times we got hurt. And by hurt, I mean you get scratches, cuts, burns, sensations like something has ripped you apart, and it doesn't show on your meat. You're just walking around in pain. And it hurts for just about as long as it would take to heal some of these normal wounds. Not quite as long in some cases, but it really, really hurts. So anybody wants to tell you, oh, no, it doesn't, then they haven't astrally projected. I'm sorry. Don't even bring that fantasy in here. You can be, you can also be lost too. If something makes it so that you can't return to your body and it gets to your body, it's theirs. And you can't slip in because you can't push them out. So that's the reason for having it protected. The only movies I've ever seen that actually accurately portray this was the movie Insidious. There are very few times that you actually encounter movies that are accurate to the situation. Insidious is one. A Haunting in Connecticut 1 and 2 are another. Joel even said how much The Haunting in Connecticut was like what I used to go through when the ghosts would cluster around, because I get freaked when they start doing the stare down thing. And it's just like that, including when they start moving around you, because if they don't want to be seen, but they can't help but be seen, it can be very frightening. Both of those movies are actually based on people's real experiences. They actually have the documentaries of it, and on the DVDs. And if you get the videos, you can actually see the families that really dealt with these issues. At the end of A Haunting in Connecticut 2, Ghosts of Georgia, they actually show you what the real family looked like. And they had 100% input from beginning to end. So we're coming into a trend now where people are hearing some of the truth. And that's the reason why I wanted to do that video on Hollywood versus fake, because we're now getting to where the real stories are coming out. And it's important that we say, yes, that's real. Yes, this is like the real thing. Yes, this is like the real thing. No, that's not like the real thing. So I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube where they go, oh, yes, astral projection. It's really cool. It's the best thing ever. No, you're an ass. Please don't tell people this stuff. Please don't false advertise. Don't say you're doing something that more than likely is you just not, helping yourself stay awake and causing sleep paralysis, because it has a very similar effect if you actually are into lucid dreaming. Because if you lucid dream while you're paralyzed, you can actually force yourself to see all kinds of crazy things and assume that it's astral projection. In the same fashion as people who go into an altered state where they are in a sensory deprivation chamber can do. All right? I'm very realistic about this. I know the differences because I've experienced the differences. So I've admonished the crowd that's out there as much as I possibly can, because I really needed to. It's not something you want to go playing with. Anyway, I ask why your daughter was curious about that. Aisha.
Yeah, but I don't hear you anymore.
You can't hear me?
All I heard was "might I ask," and then you went off.
Oh, sorry. Might I ask why your daughter was curious about that?
I don't know. What it is she heard you one day talk about Jemima being here in the kitchen and, you know, arguing about the new things that my husband is doing that he don't have no business or whatever. And she just asked me, she said, how does he do that? When you tell me where she is and you can see her, and she said, how does he do that? And I explained to her what you tell me that you do. You actually leave your body or whatever. And she said, wow, could you ask him what happens to his body when he's gone? How does he do that? But whatever it is, we don't really want to learn how to do it. We just want to know what your experience is in
right.
it.
Well, I'm just admonishing.
We're not there.
Sorry, my admonishment wasn't for you or for your daughters. It's for the people they go onto YouTube and say that it's things that it's not. Is all that I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to keep her from doing it, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and she's meant to do it. And I'm just giving the alternative, which is the mental projection. It's easier and it's safer. It's much easier than astral projection, actually.
Well, if we ever get to a point where we, repair our bodies the way that it's supposed to be, where we're totally healthy and can do things like that, we're going to come to you to go to the next step or the next move or whatever it is that we need to do, so we can get more into this and help you. Right now, we're only at the advertising stage.
Right.
So that what we went through with you is real. So we know that what you're doing is real. We're just at the advertising stage, as far as helping in this family get together here. We don't really know much about doing any of these things. We don't see any of these things. It's just that we're starting to feel it. And that's the reason why we need to know, because once we actually start making our bodies healthier, because I remember Joe telling me one time that he remembered somebody asking him do this or whatever in some type of way. He put his hand on their forehead and he asked them, are they sure they want to do it? When he asked me that after he told me what they experienced, I told him, well, you're right. Okay, well, that's okay. I'm not ready yet.
Right.
I'm not one of those people who still be saying that I'm ready, like I'm so strong, when I know that I'm not. I know how to say no when I know danger is ahead, when I know that I'm not ready for it. I'm already passing out right now as it is. If you open up my mind to that.
No.
It's not the heat, it's just the seizures and, not getting enough rest and worry about what's going on around me and stuff like that. My dad keeps going to the hospital, he's about to die on me. So all these type things, and what's aggravating to me is he's taking so long to do it. It's not the fact that he's dying, it's just to do it. I'm like, why you keep coming back when I know you don't want to live? You keep coming back, and I keep telling you what's killing you is the fact that you've eaten ice. So that's what made your one of your lungs go out, because you're freezing your organs, and then he'll come home and eat ice again. I hate parents like that who sit here and have you aggravated by them dying on you, but yet they're killing themselves anyway, and then want to be around you for you to see that happen. Could you quickly hurry up and do what you need to do so you can get out of my way?
If he's eating ice,
that's the type of person.
If he's eating ice, also he's actually anemic. Eating ice is an indicator of a situation called pica. So he's anemic, and he probably doesn't have enough blood in his system, and he may need to get a transfusion, but he's probably fighting it, which is kind of funny. But in any case, I was going to ask you something, because Jemima keeps on showing me that she's actually like dusting in your living room and spraying something in the air, like something to kill smell. And she keeps on showing me she's doing that. And I'm ow. And the side of my head keeps hurting. Like she's cleaning and she's spraying something. What in the world is that about?
Tell her. My husband does that, every day. The kids keep on putting their toys out, and they don't put their toys back. And he brought this chest in here that, we had out in the backyard. So they had a lot of dust in it or whatever. He keeps telling them he has to clean it out before they use it. So in here, and he does dusting and stuff like that. And I purchased the vacuum cleaner, and I haven't used it yet, but I need to use it. Is the point? Is what she's trying to make it. You know, I need to get up and actually do my job and do something about it.
Well, apparently it smells kind of funny, like it's either dry rot or wet rot, but she keeps dusting it and spraying the air. So with something like Lysol or something. I was like, what the heck is this all about? And so she's probably telling me if I was to come in the house, I'd probably sneeze my head off because of the dust. I have a terrible, terrible dust allergy. I mean, grass allergies, but dust is worse.
Just sprayed roach spray a little while ago. It's probably getting on our nerves, and she don't want that in here.
Oh.
You know, keep telling me spraying roach spray, but you know, if I see a roach, I'm gonna spray. And he keep telling me stop doing it, but I don't have time for it. So and I just finished cleaning out the condition just a few minutes ago, and I sprayed in it kitchen, which is near her. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of dust in there that came out of there, mm-hmm. what she's dealing with. But I just finished doing that like an hour ago, and it's probably getting on her nerves. But I'll get back in there and finish cleaning it. I just heard the show pop on while I was doing it. That's why I ran in here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Also, it might be a good idea to get roach strips. When I had to deal with roach strips, actually, you put the like a glue strip where they like to run, kills them dead without a smell. And there's also things that don't smell that are will kill them long after the raid stops working. And you can spray it in the corners where they go, and it'll just keep killing them. So that. Let me think. Let me ask her. Would that help?
But I bought some.
Well, she says, "Oh Lord,
boric acid."
Yeah, boric acid will kill fleas and small roaches. But she says, "Oh Lord, if you can get her to do that, it would get that smell out from up in here. I would so love it because it smells so bad every time she sprays, and it smells and it smells, and she doesn't crack open a window to let it out because the heat is so high." Is that what's going on?
I thought she only rat on him. I didn't know she rat on things that I do too.
It's everybody in the house. I'm sorry. And she says I don't complain about the girls because they're little girls and I love watching them even when they're bad to each other. Because they're naughty little girls sometimes.
Okay. All right. I'll take care of that. And I just did that, an hour ago with the roach spray. That's probably what she's talking about. And the entire back room is smelling like that. Mama say, open up the back door. Leave the screen door locked, but open the back door because she said that smell back there she can't take.
And it's probably because it also if you can smell it, it means that you guys are breathing in the fumes, which is why she would be worried. Okay, so we'll put down another one of those on the mark now for stuff that Jemima says that is true. See, she doesn't like to talk. She just likes to show me stuff so that I have to ask her then, because she's like she likes to show, and then I was like, okay, I'll bite. What's going on? Oh my gosh. Honestly, she's the exact opposite. And this is funny because this segues into the Ghost Adventures episode 9. Okay. She's exactly the opposite of what the boys deal with in Magna. Okay. In Magna, this lady actually and she's not even as strong as my eldest son. So I have to say this, she's strong, but she's not even as strong as my eldest son, but she knows enough to know how to do this, which is scary because I thought this knowledge was lost. I thought the kind of thing that this lady did is not common enough knowledge, but she found out some way to do, and the way that it was done. Now, you remember that mattress that they find with the blood and all the other stuff on it?
Yes, I saw that. That's one of the anchors. If they want to get that stuff out of there, that mattress needs to come out and be burned. And I don't mean taken to the garbage. It needs to be burned. And then what's left of it needs to be doused in purified sea salt. And the handprints that she put on the wall, those have got to come off. They've got to be sandblasted off. She put 3 foci in there and she buried one of them in the walls. I don't know where the last one is, but I could sense that it was there. She created 2 spirits.
And then because she didn't have enough energy to be able to maintain it, she summoned a demon and then asked the demon to keep them powered up so that they could keep going. You remember what I had to do for Jemima and Truthwalker? That's easy to do. This lady apparently doesn't know how to do it. So she said, here, let me get a demon who can keep these guys on the path that she wants to keep on attacking them. Joel even sensed it. When you're watching the episode, my eyeballs were cooking. When I was 16 and Joel was 17, almost going, he was about to, yeah, he was about 18 actually. The first time we ever dealt with a demon was one that was attacking a family in the city of Hawthorne. Everything that you saw on that video was mild by comparison to what happened to the house we were in. The apartment we were in, the whole thing shook. You could hear banging all over the place. You could hear screaming outside of the house. We were afraid that the cops were going to get called. We were so worried that the cops were going to get called because people could hear it on the street. So we knew what it was a demon in there. You could sense it. You could smell it. Even through the video. This is probably one of their biggest, most dangerous ever lockdowns. And I have, oh my God, how many pages of notes did I take of this? Oh God, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pages of notes because this was serious. What Joel and I do, we're now going to have to let everybody know because if this is becoming common, you can't have people that are the run-of-the-mill people get rid of this. Because, and I'm going to, okay, so Sonia, you saw the episode, right? What do you remember what it was that who they said they actually tried to get help from?
No, but no, I can't remember the woman's name.
You can't?
I mean the one with the spider in her hair or something. Was it?
Okay, well here's what it was. Here's the total sum number of people that they asked for help from. There was a psychic medium. I have not been able to find her name despite looking up the psychic mediums in the city of Magna. She couldn't do anything, so she sold them some crystal ornaments that were supposed to be for witches. Basically, they're Christmas ornaments. They didn't even have any energy in them. Useless. The witch created an attachment that went after the family, and they couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. So they actually called on a good witch, and the good witch couldn't even do anything. And her name was Kelly Core. She couldn't do anything except tell what was going on. She had something put on her, and she couldn't get it off. That's the first thing that I taught you guys how to do, is how to how to let this stuff not affect you so that you can keep on going. And this person doesn't know that most basic thing. I mean, it is one of the most basic. You can go back in our videos. It was first maybe 8 episodes because it's that important. She couldn't stop any of the things, any of the sending, summoning, spells, or anything that were sent after her. Nothing. And let's see, the bad witch had a history also with a local supply shop that was owned by 2 Wiccans. And they are so in fear of this lady and what she can send her way that they won't talk. So that brings the total number of people being stymied up to 4. Or if you want, or the 2 owners of the store would make it 5. But specifically, we're talking 5 people. And it didn't get any better the more that they asked for help. They actually asked for more people to come in and look the place over. And I don't know, at the end of the episode, the boys, I guess they figured there's some kind of freaking wizards. They're like, oh yeah, here we're going to do this ritual and it should help you. You guys are idiots. Just please stick to just gaining evidence, Zach. Really? Because that's what you guys are there for. Evidence. Nothing more. You don't get anything else. So, when you asked about the red thing, Aisha, that tackled the guy, that was a demon. That was the demon. This is one of the few times I can say, yes, that is a demon. The little red sphere, all that stuff, demon. It was putting on an act so that it could menace the boy and then keep on training the spirits on the rest of the family.
that something happened, like the whole building shook. It looked like the ceiling fell on them, and they all jumped or whatever. And even in the other room, the other guy who had the video cameras, who was looking from next door, the lights blinked in the room where he was or whatever. What was going on there? Because when they looked around, nothing was moved, but to me it looked like the ceiling actually fell on top of them.
Yeah.
But yet they said they didn't see anything later on.
The way that that's done is the demon wanted to give them a hard scare. And what it does is it basically creates a vacuum that comes back together again in the air. And it makes a huge BAM! That's how they do it. It's scary as hell. It's if it was done underwater, it would be called cavitation. And I've been near it, and it goes off like a bomb near your head. And it makes you jump. You also can feel the back pressure of the air, and it knocks you flying. I was actually knocked out of a pentacle. I was standing on feet first that way. When I faced off against the first demon that Joel and I got rid of. It has the feeling akin to being punched. Now, if you're really close by to it, it causes the effect that you saw, and it made the entire building shake. It even made was Jay? Yeah, Jay was at Nerve Center, and it hit the part of the building he was in to shake as well. So the reason why it looked like the ceiling came down is because the cameras went up as the boys jumped in the air because it scared them so bad.
What made you and Joe first start saying to yourself, let's do something with this gift that we have to actually help people and to do this fight or whatever that you're doing now?
I don't know for Joel, but for me, it was because of the fact that I kept on being hunted and I got tired of it because the thing was affecting my family. And then when we saw that the people were in danger in the apartment complex, just going there, I thought, well, we could do something about this. Let's see if it can be done. That was an experiment. We weren't doing any experiments when I shouldn't name his family. Joel's friend's family said we need help. They specifically asked me. They specifically called me and specifically asked me if I could help. And so I said, okay, yes, we can. And ever since then, it seemed like it was a natural thing to do.
How did they know to ask y'all? Joe actually was that open with his friend to let him know what you guys were doing.
Yes.
And he brought that. Okay. And he brought that to his family, and his family say, let's see if it works or whatever.
Yes, they said it couldn't hurt, and so I'm like, oh well, because it's dealing with a demon has a specific set of rules that I had read up on many times. I thought we were that we'd come in contact with them more often. Other things have different sets of rules, and they're a little more flexible. But demons have a set of rules that are immutable; they don't change, and therefore it makes them actually easier to deal with because once you know what you're dealing with, you know how to stop them if you follow these set series of steps. Other things actually require a more flexible approach, and because they have different sets of rules based on who they are, where they come from, their culture, it becomes very, very broad. But demons, they don't change. So I figured from what I knew that it would be easy for us to deal with the one that was affecting Joel's friend's family. And we did it. And to this day, they actually still remember it. They actually contacted him. They said, he told me, he said they called him and said, hey, do you remember this? And apparently they're still in awe of it. And for me, it wasn't even that hard. I actually, because we didn't have enough people to do it, because we needed to have at least 5 people, we only had 3. So I had to make myself a target. I actually had to say, here, come and get me. And when it came after me, I was able to help catch it. And that's when I got hit. It knocked me clean off my feet. It would have been nice if it knocked me clean off my feet onto the couch, but no, it knocked me clean off my feet onto hardwood floor. That hurt. So yeah, so I know what we're dealing with when we're dealing with this kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of funny. I can still remember how it felt when I hit the ground, because I shouldn't have put my elbows back. I should have actually tumbled, but I put my elbows back and they smashed down really hard, and my shoulders came up and hit the back of my head. That hurt pretty bad. Ooh, just thinking about it. I actually had a really sore neck for about a week and a half after that. I wish I had a chiropractor when I was 16, because they would have got everything better. But And they didn't talk to me anymore because it was like, I guess they were just like, oh my gosh, if he can do that, what else can he do? And they talked to Joel, but I never got an invite. I never got a call. That became indicative to me. It's like, oh, Sean, you're a freak. You better, if you do this stuff, you better expect people never to talk to you again. Okay. But they still talk to him. I mean, they literally found him on Facebook and said, hey, do you remember that time when you got rid of a demon in our house?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sonia, was there anything that you found really interesting about that episode?
That bit where Zach and Thing were stood with the you know where it makes the outline of the people? I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, the SLS camera. Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on, give us.
You muted yourself.
Yeah, where?
Well, that was weird.
Yeah, because I was going to cough and I didn't want to cough down the mic.
I appreciate
that. When he's like, show yourself, and it's like, he's just standing there with like, was it no head or something? No, it wasn't that one. Where it's like standing and floating, and then he comes in to have a look, and it sort of like jumps in him, or like behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was quite interesting, sort of thing.
That was when it was trying to hide, and trying to see if it could affect them. See, some spirits, when they're created to go do a particular thing, they don't have enough energy to be able to affect something other than their target. If you're trying to get something done and you don't have a whole lot of energy, then you have to make it very, very specific so that the energy that they can use and channel in a particular direction is very, very narrow, so that they don't have to use very much of it to have a very large effect. So basically, if it's designed to menace that family and it tries to affect somebody who's not in the family, it's not going to be able to. I mean, the Thing was was choking the daughter, causing dementia on the dad, and that it can do that because it was created to do that. So its energy can affect them very, very easily, and it doesn't need very much. Let's see. And
what else I found annoying is when Erin was trying to find this thing, because he kept on having the dream. He got so fixated on the mattress.
Yeah, because he actually is. He's the one in that group who actually has the most potential. I kept thinking to myself, damn, Aaron, this is the one where you shine. He even snatched the voice, the spirit box from, was it Billy or Zach, and said, here, give it to me. And he went in there and he took it in there, and he went and he started talking to it. He was not backing down. And I remember him tweeting about that he said he wasn't going to back down.
But I totally agree with you with the spirit box, where all you can hear is, and it doesn't come clear when they come through, so you can't actually hear what they're actually hearing.
It's aggravating to me because I would really like to hear what they hear. The microphone that picks up the stuff is not going to be as clear as if we were in the presence of it, and if you record it, it's still not going to be. It's not going to be able to become clear. No. And let me see some of the notes that I took. Oh yeah, I heard a choking sound when they went down into when they got there in the morning, and the first morning, and there was a strange mist that became visible on the infrared camera in the basement when they first went in there. And it was like it was part of the anomaly, and then it disappeared. And then Zach decides he wants to aggravate it. Do you remember that? He starts calling it out. Yeah. As soon as he did that, I got this smell of burnt flesh. Burning, like we're talking not roasting, we're talking burning flesh. And it was really bad.
When that happened, I got goosebumps all the way up my arms. I was like, oh God, this is going to turn around and bite him on the ass.
And that's when Aaron took over and he felt something there.
Yeah.
What amazes me is that they didn't smell what I smelled. You didn't smell it either, which because we're going to pick up different things off the recording. But if you or I were there, it probably would have been one of those moments where you or I would have backed up as one of those guys got hit. You know, and that's generally what happens. The weakest person in the room, like, okay, if you're a brawler in a bar and you're drunk, even if you have a belly full of liquid courage, you're going to turn around in the room and go, I'm going to kick one of your asses, right? And they're going to look for the person who's the easiest to punch. Now, in our history with Joel and myself, it was never us that got hit unless it was just he and I that were there. That's the truth. Whoever was, you could tell, was the lowest common denominator would go down in order of who was there. And if it was just he and I, then it was evenly split between the two of us who was going to get punched, scratched, kicked, or have shit thrown at, or both of us thrown at the same time, like with that thing that launched the rocket, the pair of us. And so it's turning around, trying to find somebody to hit, and the fact that it went after Aaron surprises me, because Aaron literally is going to be the strongest one in the group.
Yeah, but problem is sometimes Aaron's the easiest one to scare, though.
Well, yeah, because he's the one that they sent in there on his own. Remember, it's like, oh, you go in there on your own. I
felt sorry for him when they, like, I was wanting to say, like, in the episode 10, I felt really sorry for him when they go, no, just climb through, just go one day. It's like, I can't. And then they bitch about him complaining. It's like, I would be complaining too.
He's 6'3". You or I would have an easier time getting through there because we're under 5'9". It would not be as much of a problem for the pair of us. The man
but we'd still get.
Sorry.
I'd at least give him like knee pads, because you don't know what's down there. And like you said, there's broken pipes and glass. I'm surprised
he picked up the glass.
Knees.
He picked up the glass. He said it cut right through his suit. That was in the Viper room, by the way, folks, what we're talking about. And
no, I'm saying, I'm surprised he didn't actually penetrate his skin with how he had to, like, crawl. He couldn't exactly stand up or out. He literally had to slither around like a snake.
Oh, and okay, the loud bangs that happened when they were in the basement at Magna. Okay, so we're back to Nana's, and the SB7 spirit box is making noise. Billy thinks the camera, while it's making the first time they're doing the reading, he thinks the camera moved because he could see a set of red eyes moving, or because of the dots, because the camera has a little red dot, and he saw it, but it wasn't. This is actually an ability that demons have called distance distortion. Mist and distance distortion are the ways that they get you confused so that they can do stuff to you. Now, I'm giving away some of the tools that these guys can use on you because I want you all prepared. If you're going to do something stupid, you need to know what's happening. If, however, you're in a situation that is out of your control, you're going to need to know what's happening. It's called distance distortion. Distance distortion makes it so that a small area can suddenly look like it's big or growing, almost like a bad dream where you're moving down a hallway and it feels like the hallway just keeps stretching out in front of you. Been there, done that. Oh my God, there is nothing quite like it. Even speeding up running doesn't seem to get you to the end. That's where you actually have to calm down, stop, slow down, think about where you are, and understand some of the things we told you about with space and time being relative to your position and your understanding. All the times when Joel and I actually got like 3 hours out of a half an hour's worth of doing certain things. It's the same kind of thing. It's a distortion, and you can distort it back the other way by focusing on it and realizing that the distortion isn't real and reeling it back in, sort of like when you reel a line back into a fishing pole. That's how, when Joel and I, on more than one occasion, when running away from something, when the distance began to distort, that's what Joel and I would do, is reel it back in. And first couple of times, my God, we went home with pulse pounding headaches. It really hurt. Sonia, not too long ago, actually encountered that because stupid Sean, 26 years ago, forgot it hurts the first time you do some of these things. So I apologize on camera, Sonia, but you did the thing yourself. I'm proud of you, okay? I'm sorry. It was 26 years ago. You tend to forget the pain. It's just like when you have kids, you forget that it hurts. So I'm sorry, but it had to happen anyway, so it's nothing I could say.
It's fine.
So,
at least it wasn't too dangerous. So
no, if it was too dangerous, I'd have done it myself. It would be like, no, I'll take care of it. But yeah, that's a thing. Also, Aisha, sometimes the first couple of times you do things, you may faint, you may pass out, it may hurt, it may cause a numbing pain, or you might feel nothing at all. Some people are just naturally gifted that way. Like for myself, energy transfer, it feels like nothing. It doesn't cause me any ill effects at all. Nothing, not even slightly. But for some, it can cause no end of pain or discomfort or energy drain, or they need to sleep it off, etc. So that is a thing to keep in mind.
I must admit, I didn't feel as much as bad as when you had to pull that thing out the side of my head. So,
oh yeah,
honest.
Yeah, that was yeah. And that's not even the most gruesome thing I've done in the last month. Do you know that? Trevor's now, my eldest son is now developing, and he started having nosebleeds because he's developing. He's like, Daddy, why do I keep having nosebleeds? It's like, okay. Was expecting this to come sooner, but he's 16 now, so he's at that age where the development begins to sprint in my family. So I actually had to clear his third eye, and he said, "Oh my gosh, that feels extremely strange. What are you doing?" And I said, "It's better if I describe it to you later." So and I was telling him, I said, I have to do this probably every couple of days for poor Lori because she doesn't know how to clear herself out. You're lucky because you have my natural gifts, and the stuff just sort of drains out on its own because you haven't delayed the development. I've never delayed it from you. And now you asked me about the girl, Aisha. Do you remember the little girl that was in that episode?
Yeah.
Okay, her name, from what I can tell, is Samantha. That's the name of the demon there, Samantha. I got that name. Sorry, go ahead.
Did they ever get that? Did they ever say that the demon's name is Samantha, or is that something you just got?
That's something that I got, and I wish I could have told them. That was the name of the demon. That's the name that it was using. That's not its official name for that, because I now know this name. I could actually go there and force it to give me the other one, because that means the skin it's wearing is Samantha, and if it wants to actually affect me, it would have to actually get out of the skin, and then I could I shouldn't say skin. The thought form that it was using.
When you label this video, once you're finished with it, if you label it, the review of that series, with the series and episode of Ghost Adventures or whatever, all those people who actually listen to or watch Ghost Adventure will come to your channel so they can hear what you have to say about that. And that will make them probably bring attention to you, to the guys who actually do that show. And those guys may come to you and try and see if they can get help from you. Because some of those people who are talking to them, who are calling them, asking them for help, are serious people who really need help, and they're not getting the help that they need. They need somebody like you in there to help them with that. So, if you label this video something that'll bring their attention, that is basically just a review of that TV series, other people would listen to it and be like, okay, let me see what he mean by that, and actually they're going to come and look at it by being labeled that, because they want to make sure you're not messing with their copyrights or anything, something they can complain about. And when they see that you're not, you're just talking about what's really going on and what you see, which is something totally different than what they'll see. They may, listen to you long enough or hear it long enough where one day they may say to themselves, let's see if this guy is serious. Let's see if I can, talk to this guy and get him to come and help us in some way, form, or fashion,
Well, I'd love to, but they probably wouldn't put me directly on camera. It would be something off camera to fix the problem so they could go home.
Yeah.
That's truthfully where most of their issues come in, I think.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they don't really need to put you on camera. They just need to get your help, and see because they have a lot of people who are actually going through some serious stuff. And when they call them in to do it, if they paying those people to do that and not getting help, I know they're very upset. So they prefer to pay you to get somebody, even though you like to do your stuff for free. Trust me, people who actually getting help from you are going to feel this and see that they're really getting help from you. And even if you say don't pay, the tip is going to be so good that you're going to start getting what you deserve for the work that you're doing here on earth. If I had money, I would be tipping you myself. Like I said, once I come up to what I plan on doing, don't think you're not in my book. Like you say, you keep notes of things. I keep notes of people who do things for me or have done things for me in life. And I go back in my life and actually, pay people and give people something to help them out, whatever. I've done it before, and I know I will do it again.
Just between us, I'd be embarrassed to take money for doing this kind of thing, because I'm not the kind of person who goes around with his hand out for that.
I know that's the reason why I say a lot of people are going to be just giving you a tip for it, saying just please take something just to be taking something, because once they realize that that's the type of person that you are, they're going to give it to you some type of way, that in a way that way you won't feel bad at doing it. You're going to be blessed for what you're doing, especially knowing that this is real and you're not just wasting their time like those people are, just to do a TV show or to get money off of a TV show or whatever. Once those guys realize that they need you, actually start getting help from you, they're going to have to give you something. People are going to be giving you something. It will come. You will be blessed.
I would love to be able to do this for a living and be able to help people, mainly not because I want to make money at it, but because I would like to be able to go to bed every night knowing that I have to be 100% honest when I tell everybody this. This is an admission of my life before I beat the thing that was trying to kill me. I had gotten to the point, and this is not a joke, I had gotten to the point where I did not see any value in my life because I was being told that my nickname was El Feo. That's Spanish for the ugly. I was mistreated. I was sexually abused. I was molested. I was beaten. I had been hurt on the job, so that I had 3 herniated discs in my spine and 1 ruptured. My mother kept making me work full-time while taking all of my grant money and all of the money that I earned while working full-time and trying to go to school full-time. I was in constant pain. I would go to bed in pain. I would wake up in pain. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. Everything was pain. And she kept telling me it was all in my head. It was all, I was faking. I didn't know what pain was. Bloody men don't have any idea what pain really is. When she found out because MRIs are new technology for the 1990s, but I got an MRI that showed that I had 3 herniated discs and 1 that was ruptured. Now, for you to understand this, herniated means pressed down into the canals where the nerves come out, and the 4th one ruptured. Think of a jelly donut that somebody stomps on. Okay. That one healed itself over the course of 2-3 years. It refilled itself. Ruptured ones are easier to deal with than herniated. I then had to go and get injections into my spine in order to be able to walk without pain. And my mother still telling me that I was full of shit and that it didn't really exist. At one point in time, I couldn't take any more of her hitting me while I was in pain. And I actually purposely tried to overdose and kill myself. And that was the 3rd time I tried to kill myself, because when I was sexually abused, I drove my bike out into traffic because everybody made me feel like I was worthless. And I don't mean like onesie twosie cars traffic. We're talking around a bend that nobody usually stops at, with my eyes closed and my feet up on the handlebars to get killed. Okay. This latest attempt, when I was 22, I took every pill, every muscle relaxer, everything. And the thing that I said before I died, because I thought I was going to die, I said, God, please let me take away some measure of pain. Let my death, take away somebody's suffering. Please make the world better when I die, because it couldn't be worse. Please, God. Now I'm still alive, so I want still to make the world a better place. If my death can't make pain go away, let my life have some meaning so I can take the pain away for people. Let me please help you. Let me find these people, because apparently I was spared. I was spared each of those attempts at killing myself because somebody somewhere could use my help. Get the word to people, because I really want to make a difference in your life. I don't want to make money. I don't want to be rich. I just want to take this away from your life. So,
well, just think, if you was gone, you wouldn't have been able to help me. You know, this old Frenchie would have killed me a long time ago without your help. So I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And what you're doing in your life is a step that's been written in the pages of a book that I'm writing on, when people actually take that step out on life to decide they want to move into a new place, move in a new area, place or whatever. You know, a lot of people look at these things, oh man, this looks so good, and this and that. No, before you go anywhere, before you do anything, if you look at a place, I could care less if it's just a piece of ground and you want to build something on it later on. They need to go through you in order to do that. I know that's what I'm going to do before I even buy my next place, move into my, just like before I moved in here, I asked you to check it out. You know, even if I'm just renting it out for me, that way once at least the first step has been taken care of, I can move on to all the other things that I need to do in my life. You know, but you can't do that when you got unforeseen things around you taking you down and you don't know that it's going on. You know, and a lot of this is coming up even more now that we're getting ready to go into a different sign that they're claiming is a bigger sign that lets more of these things be out in the open, you know, letting people see it who normally wouldn't see it and stuff like that. You know, you are very much needed, you know, and even if God give you the power to actually give to some people to help you, to actually go through your university and learn these things, learn how to do each of these things to help you, you know, that's going to be a great thing also. You know, I would love to take the class, but you know, until I'm capable of actually fixing my body so I don't faint right now, you know, I'm scared to do that. I'm just around you right now because I'm listening to and learning from what you are teaching me now. I take notes of everything that you tell me, you know, but I'm listening and learning from you right now, but I'm not ready to actually be so involved that I'm helping to do something about it. The only thing I can help to do about it right now is to advertise, is to let people know that they need you in their life. You know, they need for you to be their first step before they make any move to do anything. You know, even if somebody going off to college, they need to get those dorm rooms checked out. You know,
oh my
look, I'm
God,
gonna be
yeah. Yeah, there's so many stories about that. You know, the place where Loma Linda University in Riverside was the girls' dorm was the first dorm I've ever stayed in because I was 10 years old in the California Boys Choir. That place had metaphysical activity, not a whole lot, but it had it. But let me tell you, if that had it and it was minor, if all the stories I hear about people's dorms being haunted and all of these different, especially the older ones, that's crazy. Somebody needs to go in there and do something. They need to do something, but they don't do anything. I've heard so many stories on Hell Freezer, on Darkness Prevails, on.
I know. I listen to those stories. I'd be so shocked at those stories. And what shocks me is the fact that these people who work in these places, who live near these places, they know these stories and they don't tell these people until after it's too late. You know, until they've actually claimed another life, either through death or making the people crazy, and then just having the people think that they're crazy instead of telling them what they know about the place before they get there. You know, that's the weirdest thing ever. You know, just like most people tell you that your worst enemy is the person living with you, or your same race, or living near you more than anybody else near you. These people here who actually know about the place, who owns the place, who live near the place, these are your worst enemies, even though these are the people who's supposed to be helping you the most because they're closest to you. You know, it could be somebody who's your roommate, you know, especially if they take you to, instead of you living in a dorm and you go into one of them frat houses or sorority houses,
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
that's a whole new
Oh
set
man.
of crap that you're going to be dealing with, because the houses are they're houses that are actually originally houses, and now they're housing a bunch of people that are stirring up energy all the time. That's a whole different bacchanalia right there. But quickly back to the episode. One of the things that was in that episode that now I meant to ask Sonia if she could describe it a little better is, Sonia, do you remember those little Christmas ornament things? Because that the psychic medium
Spirit
recommended.
balls, yeah.
Have you ever seen any of those work? Because for me, they look like Christmas ornaments, and I saw nothing else to them.
I've seen the ones like at a shop near me actually work, but they're actually coated in quartz, and they're actually powered up to actually do something. Because, like she said, I was talking to Dubs. He's going, they have to be coated in something or blessed in some way, or they're not going to do sod all. They're just glass.
Yeah, because that's what I was telling you. I said those looked like there was nothing to them. They didn't glow. They had no aura. Wasn't even a physical presence. Nothing to them. I thought they might as well have just been Christmas ornaments. Sorry.
Usually they're meant to be like coated in like quartz crystals. Usually they're not made out of glass. They're usually made out of some sort of crystal. Usually, and that's how they were.
And those were just blown glass.
And that was just blown glass because I showed him. Like, he's going, yeah, they'll be absolutely useless. It's usually you need ones like that, but made out of crystal instead of glass, because glass doesn't hold shit.
Okay, and this comes back to getting fleeced. See, and then you go to the wrong people and get the okay. Don't mute yourself. Don't mute yourself. Okay, we discussed this when Zach goes to this family. He says, okay, you know, it takes like 5, 6, 7, 10 tries. You know, it might not help. And then at the end, they did stuff and said, oh, we tried to help them, which was really ridiculous. I don't even want to say what it looked like they were doing. And then he says, yes, with their family still having problems. They did put it in the text at the end. Tell the audience what you told me when I said, have you ever heard any crap about it takes 5, 6, 10 times to get stuff like this done?
I said no.
What else did you say?
I said I can't fucking remember now.
You do it right. You do it right once and it's done. That's what Dubs did, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She has a tutor that owns a shop, who I'm very grateful she has him, because you need to have someone on hand always to be able to go and bounce information off of. If my experience with Joel tells me anything, you need to have somebody to talk to. And so she said it to, you know, Dubs does this kind of thing in England, Lancaster, all the time, clearing stuff out that shouldn't be there. And is he required to go back 5, 6, 7, 10 times?
No.
And that's the truth. If you do it right the first time, it's over.
He's only have to go back to one place a second time because they thought, oh, he's cleared it out. We can use a Ouija board. Yay.
Oh, that is so stupid. That's like, oh, look, we've actually quit smoking. Let's smoke again. Because we actually quit. Idiots.
So, yeah, that's the only time Dubs has come back, but that isn't because it didn't work what he did. But like he says, it's not, he says exactly what you say. Not all one shoe fits all. You have to make sure you know what the creature or the whatever is weak against, or is it somebody who hasn't died and hasn't realised they're dead, so is there something they want to do before they cross on and blah, blah, blah. Because he's even had a psychic and she's like, oh, he wants to drink water. So but he wasn't drinking water out of a cup. He wanted somebody to drink it like a dog.
Holy smoke.
Don't And Dubs actually did it.
That is one of the weirder ones I've ever heard. Okay, that one goes right up there. That's right.
He said it would have been fine if it was alcohol, but he wanted him to drink tap water out of a tap like a dog for an hour.
Oh my gosh, that is.
And after that, they had no trouble. But like he says, you have to assess the situation. If that means you have to look like a tit, so be it.
So, and here now I don't feel so bad because sometimes these weird things happen to me, like when Maria's cat is like, "You don't have a cat," so it's at least I'm not the only person who gets caught flat-footed. It's like, you want me to drink what out of where and how?
But yeah, but like he says, not all one shoe fits all.
There's no one size fits most. There's no one size fits many. There's no one size, none of that. You can't, and I'll keep saying it till the day I die. And I'm glad that Dubs is saying it to people too, because you can't expect a one approach to work. And the fact that the Ghost Adventures guys apparently think that they're some kind of magicians now is mind bending to me. Oh, look, we're going to do a little ritual at the end with a candle and some herbs and water and just get out of there, Zach.
I showed Dubs that little bit and he started laughing his ass off. He's like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's like, oh, look, he didn't, the frigging dumbasses.
That came out of my mind. I actually wrote this down. It's like, I wrote down on in the notes. It says they are using some kind of sensor to burn herbs in a small cauldron. Did nothing. No surprise. Seriously, that's the last thing. That's the last thing on my last notes.
Well, Dub is next week he's going to New Orleans. He's going to have a word with one of his close friends to see if they can go and actually help the family out, because she deals with this sort of thing on a regular basis.
And where is this?
New Orleans.
Okay, well, the Witches in Magna, that's in Utah. So that would be are you talking about going to help these people?
Yeah, because the lassie knows. She goes and literally she'll travel. It could be on a plane. She'll go and help these people because she deals with undoing black magic.
So she's going to go. Exactly. She's going to go to Magna, Utah. You got to tell me how this turns out. Realistically speaking, I know that the thing there the lady that did her thing isn't even as strong as Trevor is, my eldest. So we know that she just knew the right things to do and how to tie him down. But I want to hear from her what she finds, and let her know that the name of the skin that the little girl, if you can, that she's hiding in, the demon's hiding in, is called Samantha.
Yeah, like I say, she deals with black magic. So, she doesn't deal with She sorts out.
She deals with it. She deals with it. That's the correct. That's the correct term. Yeah. No, she doesn't. She doesn't use it. She just deals with it.
Deals with it. Yeah.
That's the thing. The stuff that this kind of thing is, everybody who lives has to deal with the effects. We don't do anything, but everybody else has to deal with it.
But Dubs completely agreed with you. There is 3 focal points, and they need to get rid of them.
Yeah, see, when you're dealing with people who are gifted, we all are going to feel the same thing. Just like like with Paul, and I knew it wasn't him; it was the outside of him, that sort of thing. When you're, for some reason, it's almost like reading, like no matter who you are, from what distance, we're all reading from a book, a picture book, and we all feel the same information coming in, almost like it's being shoved into your head. Like, as long as you're open to it. I don't know any better way to describe it than that.
It's like the same thing when, like I said, the Skinwalker episode. My dad pissed himself laughing when they went to Skinwalker Canyon. But when they had the herbs, he's like, "Oh my God, they're going to get high as hell." I went, "Why?" I went, "You do know they're just thinking it's sage, Dad." He goes, "Yeah, that's the funnier part of it."
And that's another thing where everybody who's experienced knows exactly what's about to happen. We're all like Willy Wonka. It's like the suspense is terrible. I hope it'll last. And they didn't even go there while stoned. It's like, we're warriors now.
Yeah, my dad's going, he was going, please go while high, it'd be more funny. And you'll probably stop being stupid idiots. But my dad's going, damn it. They're not going to learn nothing.
Well, they would have. The whole point, I think, to them going out there while they were blasted, they would have been killed. Joel and I were discussing it on camera. If it seems like somebody went out there to try and rile the thing up and got eaten by the Skinwalker. because there was no sign left of the person who started the fire and burned the cat's head, etc. But back to the let's get back to this episode, because this one, there's so much more to talk about.
Do you know when Zach and that were talking to that box where it said like head, dig, and stuff like that? I could sort of see like an outline of something, you know, behind Zach with the little monitor.
Since I was watching it on my computer screen and rather than the big screen TV, I missed a lot of the detail. So I did not see that. I did not get to see that.
Where the machine's like blinking every time he asks a question.
Yeah, there was I remember the one where they get the voice that says behind you, and then Aaron gets brave and takes and then he grabs the spirit box and it goes, it show you, be patient.
It's just after that when it's Zach, and I think it's usually the other one. What was it? You know, when then he ran behind the fridge or whatever it was.
Jay.
They were at they were looking at the kitchen. And the like space thing kept on moving on it, like how far it actually was.
Oh, there was I've got notes here of what. Oh yeah, I remember this part when they went upstairs. The boys began to do the scan with the thermal camera. Things seemed to be hiding. I could actually feel stuff trying to get off camera as fast as possible. Then they got an EVP response to how the things got in there, and the answer was they were born. That's how I knew it was spirits. Now, hold on for a second. If a spirit is created in a place, it literally is born there. So that means that these two things were born there that became dragged around by the demon. They're constructs. Go ahead.
And they got like dig, and was it like head or something? They got on the weird little machine as well.
And that's one of the things that was I remember Aaron saying, he said, if you dig in the base, remember dig around, we'll find a head, because he had a dream. It was the same thing, it was backed up by it. And they were answered with a scratch. And I remember thinking, I really wish we could ask the daughter about this. And then remember it said something about Satan. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now here's the problem with asking. They said, who is your master? And it said Satan. Now I'm going to admonish anybody here who's Christian to understand Satan does not mean the devil. And there's an argument going on currently in the Christian field when reading the Bible. It does not always, they're not referring to the devil. Here's why. Satan means in ancient Aramaic, the enemy. So Christians tend to use Satan and the devil and Lucifer interchangeably, and oftentimes when they're referring to Satan, with these boxes, because they have a set program for what can come out of them, they mean the enemy. So when they asked who the master is and they got Satan, more than likely they meant the enemy, which is in this case the lady who created them. So it doesn't you can't really throw this one out there. It's like, oh, this is indication that the devil's directly involved. No, because if the devil was directly involved, that place would have fucking been flattened. Pardon my French. The whole place would have been destroyed. You can't call in an entity of that level of power and not expect destruction.
Yeah, it's the bit when he's doing that, and he's got like electrical box like thing what detects electrical changes behind him.
Yeah, oh god, I've forgotten the name of that machine. I'm gonna have to write down what these things are called. Yeah.
I could sort of see like an outline of like a child, you know, like stood behind him, not properly, but a little bit, you know, like waving a hand or something over it, sort of thing, to make it spike.
Yeah, the part that you're talking about, my ocular implants were aching. I'm reading the notes over that part. Twinges in my eyes from the ocular implants. This is the reason why I started taking such meticulous notes, because I get a lot of physical cues on this sort of thing. It hurt really bad. And then the SLS gets a little figure on it. And then my ears started to hurt. Like something was screaming at them. Zach, something gets what the spirit is communicating. Oh, Zach is useless. He can't get what the spirit's communicating. But my ears are hurting. And it was shouting in his head while he was getting that stuff on the SLS camera.
Can't you tell he can't sense Jack sugar?
Okay, Zach is, he's like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. Every time he goes, I seriously, if I was the producer of the show and Zach is the producer of the show, I'd take him out and I'd just say, Aaron, you're in charge, go in. If you're too frightened to go any further, dude, since you're in charge, that's perfectly fine. But don't send one of the other boys if you're not willing to do it, because then you'll look like me.
Exactly. But I feel sorry. I feel sorry for Aaron. He's always the one who's been used as a guinea pig.
Right. So now comes to the part where I'm going to tell you all that the constructs that can be created, that there are a lot of them that happen in life, that we come around them all the time, that you may not even realize that they're there. And I was asked specifically to discuss this on the show because Maria, a lady who's been on our show, had a friend who has one around her and was asking, is it possible to accidentally create them? Yes. You can create these out of misery, out of suffering, and out of trying to basically get it out of yourself and make an external version of it. And sometimes you aren't even cognizant of the fact that you're doing it. And you pour all of your negativity and all of your anger and all of your sorrow and all of your woe is me, my life is so terrible into these things. And it can follow you around and it can cause horrible things to happen. And people who are gifted can see these things. Now, Maria, she can't see them, but she could feel them. Her husband could see it, and it kind of freaked him out. It's not like seeing the cat that just wanders around like we encountered that was no problem. But this thing apparently is following her friend around, and she had a nice long stay with where they were visiting, and it just kept coming up and it kept doing things. And she was worried it would hang around, but when she left, it left with her. This is a classic example of something that you got to be careful what you create, because it comes with you, the good and the bad. And then there's the reality that there are the good ones that can be made too, that do the good things. Jemima is a grand example. Truth Walker is another fantastic example. These things are created from the good things that we do, from the wonders that we also our families have seen, and the desire to keep a family together, or to keep the love going, or the protection going, or to make sure that the future generations that we won't be able to touch can have some measure of protection. Sometimes ghosts create themselves that way, and a desire to make sure that they continue to protect the family if it's a desire that they have. But generally speaking, most of these things are constructed. They're made. They sit down. They speak the correct words, or in some cases, there are words you speak. There are things you can do, like the lady did those horrible things on that mattress. God only knows what other things she did. And then there's the good ones that are created to protect, that are usually attached to artwork or a building foundation or a family, or to the land and to a ley line, or where ley lines cross, or to a well. These are the ones that can be perceived as bad if you're the one who's doing ill yourself. This is where sometimes people come to believe that something's negative that isn't, just because they don't understand it, just because they don't realize that they need to approach with proper deference or understanding. It's not horribly hard to create these things. It's not horribly hard to get rid of them either if you know what you're doing. But the issue is that we are made in our Creator's image, and being able to create is just something that comes naturally. We do these things. We create art. We create roads. We create lands. We grow crops. We do these things. And yes, we can create these things, negative and positive. So I want to admonish you now, if you are out there and you are curious about these kinds of things, do not ever do the ill. Do not, because this lady, this witch who did whatever she did in Magna, when these things are done away with, the energy, the negativity, it all comes back to you. Eventually, it will all come back to her. She has somehow managed to slip it. She has somehow managed to avoid it up until now, obviously, because the woman was apparently 50s or so. She's an older woman, so she does know that eventually, for everyone, the bill becomes due and you have to pay it. And she's been trying to figure out how to get other people to pay it for her. So if you're going to do something, do the right thing, do the good thing, do the protective thing, do what it takes to make this world a better place when you're gone. Because I promise you, you will never regret those moments. And they're far more satisfying than petty revenge, than a moment's glee that someone's suffering or choking or dealing with dementia or running or having a demon banging on their house and frightening the hell out of them. Those moments don't make you feel powerful. In the end, they just show you for what you are, a bully. And I'm the kind of person who has no problems with tracking down those bullies, taking away what they have and leaving them with the after effects of what's coming to them. I don't have to do anything to you. Truthfully, I don't have to do a thing. All I have to do is end the evil that you've started, and everything comes home to roost. Like homing pigeons with hand grenades attached to their wings. I don't have to do a thing. So with that, I'm going to close this up because unfortunately, I don't think Joel's going to get here in time. May all that you hold dear bless you and keep you safe until next time we meet. And have a good evening.